We're going to have some fun with this. Just so everybody knows, Teeka, I'm a very unpopular character in the Tiwari family because it was his birthday and I convinced him to come out across the continent to be here for everybody here. Should we sing you happy birthday? No, we won't do that. We won't embarrass you that much. Look, this right now is the guy in the blockchain crypto world, so I'm going to ask some tough questions. God, is his portfolio crushing mine, and everyone knows how big my ego is, so I like to be number one, but I'm a distant number two to you, Teeka, right now, but I'm going to make my way up. So Teeka,
It's good to have dreams.
The blockchain dreams. So Teeka, you've seen everything. Okay, everybody's pitching you sorts of deals. I've sent you going, hey Teeka, should we put money in this? Or, and you're kind of my sounding board on things. Where are we today? If we're using a 9 innings kind of analogy in the blockchain, or let's do cryptos first and then blockchain.
Okay, so in cryptos, if we're using a 9 inning analogy, I would say we are probably in the 3rd or 4th inning. If we draw an analogy to where we are relative to where internet stocks were when they became incredibly popular, the internet boom started in 1992 a little bit and then went all the way to 2000. So I would say if we look at that timeline, we're probably somewhere in the 1995 to 1996 level. Somewhere in that, I would say more closer to 1995.
So a lot of people are saying, no way, it can't be, it's over. We have to remind people that the gold bull market from 2000 to 2011, before it went from $300 to $1,800, had multiple 50% corrections. That's something that people don't forget. So why do people look at cryptos as differently? Let's focus on Bitcoin because it's the gold of all the cryptos.
Well, the average everyday person has never seen an asset class move as much as Bitcoin has. And the reason why is because, generally speaking, when a new technology is launched or a new company, you, as individuals, do not get to participate in it when it's a penny or 2 pennies.
Explain
or 3
that
pennies.
venture capital model, because that's a huge
exactly
difference.
What I want to get into. Right. So if you look at the internet era, some of the biggest venture capitalists in the world were built during the internet era because they were funding companies like eBay and companies like Amazon, and they were getting stock at the equivalent of a penny or 2 pennies a share. And so all of that economic value went to venture capitalists. This time around, in the cryptocurrency boom, you are the venture capitalists, right? You are making the bet. You are looking at the project, and you are deciding whether you want to put your money into the project. And when you're right, you're getting venture capitalist types of gains. So when people see that, Bitcoin used to be a fraction of a penny, and now it's trading at around, $10,000 or $11,000, they think, oh my goodness, this run's got to be over. Now, friends, I first started recommending Bitcoin at 400, and people were telling me it was over then. And then it went to 700, and they said, Tiwari, you're crazy, this thing's over. When it went to $5,000, and I was still telling people to buy Bitcoin, now they were saying, you're irresponsible. You're hurting the general public. And then Bitcoin went to $20,000. So we're at around $10,000 or $11,000 today. We've had a significant pullback in the market. This is par for the course in an ongoing bull market. For those of you that participated in the gold market, look at what gold did between 2007 and 2008. It was a horror show in the gold market, but it was an amazing buying opportunity. And that's what we have right now in crypto.
We do this because we love what we're doing, and there's no better feeling when someone comes up to you and go, hey, Marin, thanks for making me 50 grand on Altera. And then they see, oh, hi, Teeka, thanks for making me $500,000 on this. And you sit there, you're like, Anyways, explain to the audience how the funds aren't even in this sector yet, and why they've been so late because of the issue of, hey, if you're a shareholder of the fund manager might take the key and you can never chase them.
Okay.
Explain that.
So in the United States, we have something called the Advisors Act. And the Advisors Act says that if you manage money, you're like a mutual fund or an institution, you are not allowed to physically custody or hold the shares that you buy. right? And that's done to prevent people from raising money, getting the shares, and then running off with them. So you have to have what's called a custodian. So Bank of New York Mellon is the world's largest custodian. They custody about $30 trillion worth of assets. In the cryptocurrency space, there are no institutional custodians. So if an institution wants to get involved in this market, they cannot go out and buy cryptocurrency directly because they got nowhere to put it. They can't hold it. If they hold it themselves, they're going to break the law. So what we will see this year is the rise of institutional custodians. So Coinbase.com, which is the largest Bitcoin exchange in the world, just announced that they are going to be launching an institutional custodian project this year. I believe that you will have major banks will also begin to offer custody for coins. I actually think Goldman Sachs will do that. Goldman Sachs is opening up a dedicated Bitcoin trading desk. The next evolution of that is for them to get into the custody business. So what does that mean? What it means is that for the first time, institutions will be able to pour not billions, hundreds of billions of dollars into the cryptocurrency market. And I just want to take this one step further. There is a narrative circulating around Wall Street now that is finally pro-Bitcoin. And it's pro-Bitcoin because researchers have found out that if you have a normal equity allocation in your portfolio, stocks, bonds, traditional assets, if you add a 5% allocation to your portfolio to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is not correlated to gold, it's not correlated to stock, it's not correlated to interest rates, you will actually have less volatility in your portfolio. Now, last year I attended an exclusive conference just for institutions. And this theory of the non-correlation of Bitcoin to other assets is starting to gain traction. And I believe it will be the new narrative later this year, and it will be the cause for institutional money coming into the space once we have custody.
So Teeka and I are in San Francisco. We're hanging out. This is back in November. He's like, Marin, what's wrong? I go, I'm just stressed on this project. It's a $500 million deal. It's one of the biggest gold deals I'm investing in, and it's just frustrating. And he comes in and he goes, oh, I just made a recommendation and the fuses on the exchange broke down and I moved it by $500 million, the market cap. And I'm going, who is this guy? So anyways, it's a really exciting sector, but to expand more on new money flow, something that's a problem in the resource sector, there's no new capital coming in to fund all the big funds. Now those family offices are coming to me directly and going, hey, what are you doing? Like all those fund managers stuff, now they're realizing they've cut out the middleman and they're going straight to the companies, almost in the fashion that has happened to the cryptos where the venture capital managers are gone. But the exchanges now, who's tried to set up an account with an exchange in the cryptos in the last 7 days? And what are they saying? We're not taking new clients.
So think about this, right? Think about the demand is so large right now that Binance, which is one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world, opened up their doors for 8 hours and got 100,000 new applicants. Bittrex, probably the largest cryptocurrency exchange other than Coinbase in the United States, same thing, opened up their doors. In 8 hours, 100,000 people tried to open up an account. They had to shut down new accounts. They said, look, we don't have enough staff to process all the paperwork on these accounts.
So there itself, you're going to see consolidation. Like, remember the company, I brought a company down to the San Fran show. They actually were coming to this show and they said, Marin, I got to pull out. And I'm one of the large shareholders of it. It was started in June. They go, do you think you could get a couple of thousand accounts from your thing? I go, I think we could get about 10,000. So they came down, they had about 1,000 at the November show, they got 10,000 by Christmas. They have 40,000 now, and they are not taking applicants. That's here in Vancouver called the Einstein Exchange, and they don't have the physical capabilities to take any more on.
To process it. And so as we see the cryptocurrency market down right now, I will tell you unequivocally, it is a phenomenal buying opportunity. If all you do today is just go buy a little bit of Bitcoin, you will be ahead of just about anybody else in this room. I'm going to make a call Bitcoin hits this year $40,000 to $50,000 a Bitcoin. And today you can buy it for about 10K. It is a screaming deal right now. You have no idea how much money is going to come into this space later this year. It is unbelievable.
So interestingly enough, a buddy of mine, Marcel de Groot, who's the chairman of, a director of Equinox Gold, we had this, I love bringing great minds together, right? That's what we do at these shows. We have these little private dinners after the show, and our whole group, Frank Holmes is sitting beside me, goes, oh my God, this is the most stimulating dinner I've ever had in 10 years. And I guess Marcel wanted to show how much of a supporter he is of Equinox Gold, and Teeka's like, I don't know why you smart guys are in mining. Look what we're doing, we're making all this money. And then Marcel stands up and goes, I will bet you $10,000 that Equinox outperforms Bitcoin. In the first 2 weeks, you were up 100% and he was down 10%. And I think right now, though, he's up like 3 or 4%.
We're about even.
I think. Do you have any fear that you're going to lose 10 grand?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely. I'm going to crush him in this bet.
So as a very large shareholder of Equinox, maybe buy both. Help us out. No, I'm just kidding. So we talked about this a bit earlier. For people starting out, I love the energy. Buy $400 of stock, and I want, or $400 of a company. Where we can't do that in the mining world because these stockbrokers take $129 of that 400.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this. In the late 90s, I was in my late 20s, and I had started working on Wall Street from the time of 18, and I had made an enormous amount of money from the age of 18 to my late 20s. And in my late 20s, I lost every single penny I had earned over the previous 10 years, all of it, and more. And 2 years later, I was compelled to file for personal bankruptcy. I remember that night when I had lost everything and I had to go home and tell my wife about it, and I'm standing on the subway platform, and I'm doing the math in my head. Well, if I kill myself, my wife will get the $2 million policy, and maybe that will be, maybe that's a good idea. And I remember literally doing the math on the value of my own life. I mean, it was horrific. The good news is I came back from that.
Now you can relate with us resource investors.
Yeah. So the good news is I came back from that. Now here's my point. I have made it my mission to teach people how to be rational speculators. Speculation is amazing. It's created millions of dollars in wealth for me and for my subscribers. But we speculate rationally now. What I focus on, what I call asymmetric risks, ideas that have these dramatic moves higher, and but also have the ability to go to zero. But that's okay so long as you manage your position size. So what I say to my folks that come into my service, I say, look, if you're a small player, just put $400 or $500 into an idea. If you're a bigger player, you can go up to 1,000. Now you might be thinking, oh, what am I going to do with $400 or $500? Okay, last year, if you put $1,000 in my best performing pick last year, you'd be up $1.4 million.
Repeat that.
If you put $1,000 in my best pick last year, you'd be up $1.4 million today. Okay, if you just my average performance last year was 3,000%.
And that's published.
It's all published. I have the most transparent and the longest running track record of anyone in this space. I will tell you that I probably made more millionaires than anyone else in the newsletter business ever. It works, and we've done it using rational position sizing.
We haven't had a resource bull market yet.
But let me just say this, friends, it's easy to get caught up in the hysteria of these markets, but I will tell you, you never want to put your current standard of living at risk, ever. It's just not worth it. Right? So what I suggest, take 5 or 10% of your liquid net worth, not your total net worth, your liquid net worth.
So what he's saying is if you've got 100 grand to speculate on junior resource speculations, take 10% of that. Screw around with 10 grand.
Right. And have a broad portfolio of ideas, because we are still so early in the space. The whole cryptocurrency market's just about $600 billion large. By the time it's all done, right before we have our end of bull market 2011 gold, kind of a period, we'll probably be at about 20 trillion.
Okay, I want to leave the last few minutes for questions for Teeka. He's here. There's a microphone right there, or I can keep asking questions. David Smith.
As a subscriber to your letter starting the second year very soon, I can tell you that your approach gives a person a level of quietude that's hard to imagine, especially it's the most volatile sector. It makes the mining stocks look like watching the grass grow.
Right.
My question is, what are you looking for that will launch the next major leg of the sector? Will it be Bitcoin above 20, or will it be 17 to 20 range, or what are you looking for on that?
Or institutions coming
Yeah,
in?
it's a great question, and what I think will be the next, I don't know why I'm coming through here, what I think will be the next catalyst will be the launch of the Lightning Network. Now, you're not going to hear much about this, but 2 days ago, there was a successful trade done on the Lightning Network. And what the Lightning Network does, it's a protocol that's going to sit on top of Bitcoin that will bring transaction costs down to virtually zero. Right now, transaction costs are insane, 40, 50 bucks. So, and the other thing it will do, it will allow you to have thousands of transactions per second. So when you see the Lightning Network launch, you will see Bitcoin prices go crazy. And of course, the other catalyst that I've talked about, which is custody, and of course, once Bittrex and Binance can open up their doors and let these millions of people that want to come in.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, hi. Just comments on XRP Ripple.
So we recommended Ripple, which is a remittance coin, which allows banks to easily send money anywhere in the world. We recommended it at 20 cents. It went to $3.30. We took 50% of the money off the table and rotated it into Bitcoin. Now Ripple started to come in with the whole market. It's dropped about 66%. We still like it. We're going to stay with it. I can tell you this. Every single one of my biggest winners, I've had to sit through 85% drawdowns.
The Valley of Darkness.
85%. When I bought NEO at 12 cents and it went to 15 and then to 4, thousands of people took to Twitter. You're an idiot. Why didn't we sell? You know where NEO was 2 weeks ago? 192, and it's 130, 140 today. Now, if you had taken and put, your whole net worth in there, of course, you're freaking out with every move. But if you only have $500 or $1,000, who cares about the volatility? It doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of small positions. They give you staying power that you would never, ever have ordinarily.
So I coined the phrase for sacrifice a vacation to make vacations for a lifetime, or sacrifice a dinner to make dinners for a lifetime.
Correct.
Last question.
Can you talk about your newsletter service?
Sure. Right now we're closed to new members, but we'll be opening it in March. And if you're interested in getting on our waiting list, you can go to joinbigt.com. So that's joinbigt.com. And I'm Big T. I used to be over 300 pounds.
So, guys, I don't think there's ever in the history of a newsletter that says, nah, we have too many subscribers, right? So I just want to say, you skipped out on your birthday. Guys, just to understand, I've met a lot of guys in our industry who've become worth hundreds of millions or billionaires, and they forget their values or where they come from. They become assholes. They're arrogant. Teeka's made a lot of money, and he's down to earth because of what he's gone through. He's a special character. He's great. He's here. And guys, ask him questions. He's walking around. He's here because he loves this, and that's why he's here. Teeka, thank you so much.
Thank you.